Today I'm back at you again with another one. Check out my recent uploaded video with the THF06TP surveillance footage of that white Nissan. Gotta check that out. But this one here is the homicide report for Zacktv. And we're just gonna go through and see what it exactly happened in this case. So first off, we have Zach Stoner. He was 30 years old, born in 88. They do not describe the birth date. Of course, he was 240 pounds, black complexion with dreadlocks. In this case, was a lot of publicity surrounding it, so we're going to get right into the investigation as soon as that page pops up. The story about Zacktv is really sad because he was a blogger, and so let's just take a look at what the event says. In summary, responding officers responded to multiple calls of shots fired around the area of Clark and Polk. Upon arrival, responding officers observed Zachary Stoner, the victim, hunched over in the driver's seat of a vehicle, place number are redacted, crashed against a pole at 751 South Clark Street. Responding officers observed the victim with apparent gunshot wounds about the head and shoulder area. CFD Truck 1 and CFD Ambulance 41 on the scene. The ambulance relocated the victim to Northwestern Hospital. The victim was pronounced by Dr. Shapiro at 0408 hours, whom listed the cause of death as a gunshot wound to the head and 2 gunshot wounds to the left arm. While on the scene, responding officers observed another vehicle with plates on the scene, which witnesses listed above related was involved in the incident. Mind you, the witnesses are often always redacted when you're doing your FOIA requests. Witnesses shared additional information with detectives on scene, above vehicles towed and held for investigation. Witnesses blank blank, which is a witness, blank blank, which is another witness, and blank blank. So that is a total of 1, 2, 3 witnesses on the scene related that they captured video footage of this incident and were willing to relate said information to detectives on scene. The ambulance personnel recovered a black semi-automatic firearm from under the driver's seat of the victim's vehicle and turned it over to Beat 114R. The firearm inventoried under that number. And so it looks like they had some witnesses that were willing to cooperate. And these are all the detectives on the scene at the time, proving supervisor, detectives, and their employee numbers. This is the morgue report. Have him again, and they know here at this point that there are 4 suspects. He was transported to the hospital. It's pronounced on May 30th at 1:30. He was in a Jeepster truck in 2007. Description: bullet holes, dent front, dent the rear. So they shot up the front and the back of the car in an attempt to murder this guy. Unfortunately, and definitely rest in peace to him, Zacktv. They performed an autopsy on Zacktv, determined the cause of death was multiple gunshot wounds. He had 1 gunshot wound that entered outer side of left shoulder and exited the top of his left shoulder, and another gunshot wound to the left side of the head, rear of ear, so behind the ear, and it lodged, and that was probably the shot that did him in there. Anytime a bullet lodges, you're very fortunate to make it. and cleared other exceptional report. So this is an additional report. And now they have some offenders' names, if we see here, and they're actually in custody. So you have an alias here, 6'4". He's 22, identified by a photo videotape. So maybe one of the videos that one of the witnesses gave was what actually led to the Devontae here Davis being arrested. Oh, we have a second suspect here as well. Nickname alias is BJ. He was in custody as well. Wow. So that's 1, 2. Now a Justin Kane. Just Blow. That's 20. So that's 3 people, 4 people with Sean Davis on this hit. And they were all identified by videotape, which leads me to believe it was one of the witnesses. Well, now here's a 5th one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow. 5 people on a hit for one guy. Alright. And the weapons, an unknown or unpublished gun, make or model. So maybe it was like, I don't know what kind of gun that was. Alright, scrolling down. I think what we'll be coming up on soon is, as you see, they have witnesses on the crime. 33 years old woman, white woman, 32-year-old black male, 30-year-old black male. So, you know, the police rely heavily on witness statements from the scene of any crime. And other communications, male Asian, Pacific Islander at 19. I mean, they had a lot of witnesses to this crime, which leads me to believe most times it's not thought through when you're going through these things. So here we are down at the investigation. The investigation continued. It should be noted, responding detectives contacted the 2nd District lockup at 23:05 hours on July 24, 2018, in order to retrieve additional mattresses or blankets. Responding detectives were advised that the lockup did not have any available. On July 25th, 2018, responding detectives submitted a request to the Illinois State Police Crime Lab for ballistics testing of the 6 fire cartridge casings recovered from the street of 700 South Clark Street. So they're trying to acquire ballistics for the bullets at this point, and it is July 25th. At 1300 hours, blank agreed to be re-interviewed. So you were interviewed once before by detectives at Area Central Detective Division. The interview should be considered a summary and not a verbatim account. Interview of blank and blank. Blank related essentially the same facts as previously reported. Blank could not remember the exact color of the vehicle, which blank described as a van, SUV hybrid. Blank added that he had consumed approximately 2 bottles of wine prior to the shooting. Blank stated he believed he was emotionally traumatized by the incident. Blank stated he would be leaving the United States to go back to India in August, but hoped that he would return. On July 26, 2018, at 1100 hours, Assistant State Attorney ASA M. Spizziri continued this murder investigation. Blank, and as you can see, there's an R at the end of this redaction here. Devontae Davis and Sean Davis were released without charge. So we know now that Devontae Davis and Sean Davis were held. Not sure if any one of these redactions are one of them, excuse me, but yes. Responding detectives received and reviewed the cellular phone records of a Justin Kane. On the 30th of May, 2018, from 0 hours, which is 12, to 1:21 hours, Kane's cellular tower records and per call measurement data placed Kane's cell phone near the vicinity of the Fuck Fame Fest 3 concerts located at 416 South Clark Street at 1:28 hours. Kane's cell phone received 2 incoming phone calls from blank. The cell phone associated with blank. The cellular tower that registered these calls is located near 16th Street between Stewart and Clark Street. At 1:39 hours, Kane's cell phone received a phone call from blank's phone. The cellular tower that registered was ca- this was call is located at blank. At 01:51 hours, Kane's cell phone made an outgoing call to blank's phone. The cellular tower that registered this call is located at blank. 2 more calls between these phones took place at 02:01 hours and 0300 hours, both registered to a tower near 97th Street and Michigan Avenue. The moment of Kane's cell phone, the moment, not moment, excuse me, the movement of Kane's cell phone is consistent with the recovered surveillance video showing the path of travel for the 2018 Chrysler Pacifica. So they know the murder vehicle at this point, and they have surveillance footage, potentially of the whole homicide. On September 12, 2018, Justin Kane was placed into custody by members of the Chicago Police Department Gang Investigation Division. Kane was transported to Area Central and placed into interview room number 3 with ERI equipment activated. So anytime you get taken in, you're going to this Area Central place here. Responding detectives relocated and interviewed a witness at the Cook County Correctional Center. So this is a jail. Now they say the following interview is a summary and it should not be considered verbatim unless otherwise noted. So now they're interviewing an inmate here. Blank stated he has been friends with blank blank, aka blank. Redacted stated he did not want to go to the rap concert the night of the incident, but went because he wanted to support his friend. Redaction stated the concert was going smoothly. Redaction stated that while on stage, Redaction mentioned the redaction in his rap song. Redaction meaning the Chicago neighborhood associated with the streets numbering in the hundreds. Redaction stated a group in the crowd with the redaction appeared to get mad at the comment. Redaction stated that the group with the redaction went on stage next and said redaction. Redaction stated the redaction was on stage with several other males. Redaction stated that after the redaction group performed, Redaction went back on stage to wish his girlfriend a happy birthday. Redaction stated the same group shouted, "Fuck that bitch." Redaction stated that he did not believe Redaction heard the remark. Redaction stated he started to walk back to his vehicle. Redaction stated his vehicle was parked on Clark Street near a Subway restaurant approximately 2 blocks south. Redaction stated that Stoner kept insisting, now they didn't redact Stoner this time, kept insisting that everyone get in Stoner's vehicle. So this is Zacktv. So he's saying Zacktv said, get in the car, just get in the car. Redaction stated he had a real bad feeling and got the chills. Redaction described Zacktv as sounding serious and worried. Excuse me. Redaction stated he went to his vehicle, a Chevrolet Impala, and retrieved the handgun. Redaction stated he had a really bad feeling that he couldn't explain and felt he may need to defend himself of his friends. Redaction stated he went back to ZacktV's car. Redaction's girlfriend exited ZacktV's vehicle. Redaction sat down in the front passenger seat of ZacktV's vehicle. Redaction stated he was looking in the direction of Zacktv and observed a silver minivan approach. Redaction stated he felt the events were happening in slow motion. Redaction stated the front passenger window and the middle passenger side window were down. Redaction stated he observed a male black with a dark complexion wearing a blue or powder blue t-shirt holding a Glock with an extended magazine. Redaction stated the individual pointed the Glock out the middle passenger side window. Redaction stated he heard and saw a lot of gunshots, but didn't know how many. Redaction stated he believed the front passenger was shooting a handgun also, but he wasn't sure and was focused on the middle passenger side. Redaction stated he was grazed 4 times by bullets. Redaction stated he had a graze wound to his right armpit, right hip, and left shoulder. Redaction stated he ducked down in his seat, removed his handgun from his pants, and returned fire through the front windshield of ZacktV's vehicle. Redaction stated he knew Stoner, which is Zacktv, carried a handgun, but neither Redaction nor Zacktv had their handguns out when the shooting began. Redaction, and I don't know if this is an E on the end of that redaction there, stated he and his friends were scared that the minivan was going to circle the block and fire at them again. Redaction stated he was in a state of shell shock and fled the scene in Redaction girlfriend's vehicle. Redaction stated he regretted leaving the scene but felt they needed to leave in order to be safe. Responding detectives showed Redaction 2 still capture images of the offending Chrysler Pacifica. Redaction identified it as the vehicle used in ZacktV's murder. Responding detectives signed and blank initialized the photographs. Blank viewed a still capture photograph of blank Redaction depicting Redaction on stage at the rap concert. Redaction identified Redaction as the Redaction. Detective H. Matthews of the Cook County Jail Liaison Unit acted as an independent administrator and conducted a photo array with Redaction. Identified Devontae Davis, Redaction, as the individual he observed firing a handgun from the middle passenger side window of the offending Chrysler Pacifica. For further details, refer to the separate progress lineup supplementary report. Responding detectives relocated to Area Central Detective Division to interview Justin Kane. Responding detectives explained to Kane why he was in custody and advised Kane of his Miranda warnings at 16:53 hours with Detective Carroll as a witness. Kane stated, "I didn't pull the trigger." Kane asked for an attorney at 16:53 hours. The interview was immediately terminated. So they pulled him in the room. I mean, he was Mirandized, and then in the same minute, he asked for a lawyer. On September 13, 2018, responding detectives and Redaction met with ASA at the grand jury room of the Cook County Criminal Courts building. ASA interviewed Redaction, who related essentially the same facts. Redaction then testified in front of the grand jury. At 14:30 hours, ASA continued this murder investigation. Justin Kane was released without charging. Responding detectives had received ballistic information report stating that there is a high confidence correlation existing between fire cartridge casings recovered in the RD numbers murder of Zacktv and the murder of Denzel Nelson. So they linked the bullets to 2 murders, not just Zacktv, but a Denzel Nelson as well. Responding detectives submitted the request to compare the cartridges recovered from the street at 700 South Clark Street under this RD number to the Glock 19 handgun, 9mm semi-automatic pistol with extended magazine, recovered from the homicide scene at night. Okay, so they're trying to get ballistics for the gun, and we are scrolling through to see, was advised that Redaction was shot and was transported to the University of Chicago emergency room. Responding detectives relocated to the trauma room 53 at the University of Chicago in order to interview. Blank denied any involvement in the murder of Zacktv. Blank Redaction admitted he explained to ZacktV's people that he had nothing to do with the murder. Redaction denied being in a vehicle with Blank. Redaction denied being near the location of the shooting. Redaction stated he left the refugee lounge early and immediately went to 43rd Street and Michigan Avenue. Redaction denied speaking with Justin Kane, aka Just Blow, around the time of the murder. Redaction refused to answer any further questions and related he wanted an attorney. The interview with Redaction was immediately terminated. Investigative alert blank was expired. Now, the responding detectives were unable to re-interview witnesses, aka blank Redaction, before he was the victim of a homicide. So I assume they're talking about Zacktv. Responding detectives have attempted to locate and re-interview witnesses on several occasions. Responding detectives learned from blank's employer that blank quit his job and shut down his cell phone number. Responding detectives discovered that after the murder of blank, blank, and blank, surrendered his Illinois driver's license and obtained a driver's license from the state of Arizona. Responding detectives had issued an investigative alert number with negative results. Responding detectives was not able to identify or interview blank Redaction. There are no records of Redaction in the Chicago Police Data Warehouse System, Illinois Secretary of State records, or accurate law enforcement searches. Responding detectives attempted to locate and re-interview witnesses. Redaction. Responding detectives relocated to multiple homeless shelters in the area with negative results. Responding detectives had issued investigative alerts Redaction with negative results. Responding detectives were unable to interview, so they couldn't get anything. It seems like the case kind of went dry. Witness blank Redaction stated he was traumatized by the incident and that he was leaving the country to return to India. Wow, so one of the witnesses left to India. He didn't want to participate in the case at all. Responding detectives learned from this detective on December 30, 2018. Blank was the victim of a homicide in the South Suburban Dalton, Illinois. Here we go. Recorded under this case. On April 4th, 2019, Devontae was arrested by members of the Chicago Police Department Fugitive Apprehension Unit. Redaction was transported to the Area Central Detective Division and placed in an interview room. Responding detectives advised blank Redaction of his Miranda rights at 14:19 hours with this detective as a witness. Redaction agreed to speak with the responding detectives. Redaction denied any involvement in this incident. Redaction denied ever entering a minivan. At 14:40 hours, Redaction related that he wanted to call his lawyer. On April 5th, 2019, responding detectives contacted the Felony Review Unit of Cook County State's Attorney's Office, ASA, and denied office. ASA Cromedius denied first-degree murder charges at 11:42, citing inconsistent witnesses / mutual combatants. It is the contention of the reporting detective that this investigation has proven to the satisfaction of the Chicago Police Department that Devontae Davis, the shooter, seated in the middle passenger seat, identified by blank Redaction, and Redaction, the shooter seated in the front passenger seat, identified by Sean Davis, caused the death of Zacktv by shooting Zacktv. The reporting detective therefore requests that this case be reclassified as exceptionally cleared and closed, bar to prosecute Devontae Davis, and by the death of offender Zacktv. And with that, may Zacktv rest in peace. Thank you.